So, Kun Kim, was it the first time for your company that consider the book which is written in English by a young Thai writer and translated this book into Thai?
It definitely was our very first time to publish a book written by a Thai writer, written in English. Because before, like Harry Potter or like Septimus Heap, they were all books written in English by English or American writers. So from the success of Harry Potter, we've always been looking for a Thai talent, you know, to write about adventure fantasy for children. And then N.Porpier, she came up to us and was like, hey, this is the book that I've written, and she's been researching a lot for it. We can see her effort. So we definitely were very happy to publish her book. The first thing that I noticed was that, wow, this is a book about adventure fantasy, which is what I really wanted to look for. And then it was written by a Thai writer, especially she was only 15-year-old.
Right.
So I was really amazed and felt really proud, and that was taken into account of why we chose to publish her book as well.
Last time we talked about the another version of languages of your book that will be translated into other languages.
Yeah.
What are the progress?
Well, I've signed a deal with Italy, so we're working with them. But mostly they kind of take care of their own thing. Like they're very professional. So then I know that if it goes to Europe, it'll have the opportunity to be translated into, I don't know, 5, 10 other languages, because, you know, there'll be like Italian, French, German, I don't know, there's like lots of languages there. So I think I'm really excited to get to see how it'll turn out in other languages and what the feedback for that will be, because so far as far as I know that the Thai version has come out really well. Thank you to Ajahn Sumali for the amazing translation. And book 2, her language is so beautiful. Like the way she translates it, everything flows perfectly.
When writing, have you feel overwhelmed with your imaginations?
Sometimes I have this really strong desire to write. Like sometimes when I've just seen a film, just read a book, or I've seen like a really beautiful picture that captures something perfectly, I really want to write. And I have to like work just to like put everything out, because it takes time to craft a sentence, you know. But sometimes I just feel like, oh my god, never mind, I just want to move on and on. But like, I have to kind of like, okay, take a deep breath and then remember it, write it, plan it out, and then write it.
So, how are you right now after the launch of the second book and you have a good feedback? It's on the bestseller shelf.
Pretty happy. I mean, I'm really proud with this one. I have to say, like, sometimes when I go back and read book 1, I'm like, oh my gosh, my writing was so childish in a way, because I was 14. So you could really see, I guess, like the progress or the development of my writing as a person as well. But I have to say that with book 2, I'm extremely proud of it, of what I've achieved so far. It's just that right now, sometimes I stress out a lot about writing book 3 and getting it out on time.
As you are an ambassador for Bangkok Read for Life campaign,
yeah.
Do you do some activities with them?
Well, lots of the time we go to events that they host, either book events or just fairs or anything.
Right.
And sometimes schools come and, you know, join in the events as well. And I'll go there either as a guest speaker, a motivational speaker. Lots of the time I'll have to go up and, you know, say like what it's like to be a young author, what are the pros of reading, why should we bother about reading, or why should we bother trying to increase literacy rates in Thailand and things like that.
What would be your suggestions for those who are interested in start writing?
I'd say you have to read a lot. You definitely have to read a lot. You don't have to read like everything that's out there, but you definitely have to, like, I mean, if you want to write about, say, teen romance novels, try to read as many of those as possible, so you kind of know what they're about, or like, you know, you kind of get the themes, the common themes, and try to make yours unique in your own way. Also, the first thing you write won't always be perfect. You have to make sure that you keep on practicing, and never delete anything. Like, for me, that's the rule. I never delete anything, no matter how bad it is. I will always keep it. And sometimes when you're older, you can always come back and laugh at it. Like, the first books I tried to write, or books, they were more like 10-page manuscripts, about like mermaids and these twins who go and meet a mermaid. You know, I wrote it when I was like 6 or 7, and I still have the files on my computer. So I go back and I read them, and they're so bad. Like, they would never get published. But it's just funny, and you can see how far you've progressed as a writer.
Right.
You know, so I'd say just read a lot, write a lot, practice, and just persevere and keep going.
Mm-hmm. And in your opinion, what is a good author or writer?
I think it's someone who can convey an idea to an audience and someone who can evoke a response from an audience. So for me, a good book is always one that has really interesting characters, an amazing plot line, humor. And sometimes after I read a really, really good book, I'll feel like I've known those characters, I've immersed myself in that world, and I don't want to come out of it. You know, I just want to stay in that world. And that's what I try to do with my own writing. I mean, it might be different for different genres, you know. A good romance novel might tell a good love story. But for me, a really good adventure, you know, young adult kids book, it'll give you the thrill. Because sometimes we feel like life is so mundane and boring and, you know, just like not as magical or eventful. I mean, why do all the kids want to live in the Harry Potter wizarding world? It's because there's magic, you know, there's adventure, there's mystery, there's intrigue.
Right.
So I try to do that with my own writing, you know, just like with the mermaid world.
So how do you see yourself in this writing path?
I know that I'm not only going to do writing in my life. I love it. I love it. But when people ask, like, so is this what you're going to do? You're just going to be an author for the rest of your life? You know that, you know, lots of authors don't make lots of money, blah, blah, blah. I'm just like, this is not the only thing I'm going to do. And I am really passionate about it. But it doesn't mean that that's all there is to me. I'm not just author girl who writes, you know. There's so many things I want to explore and I want to do. But I know that writing will always be a part of me. Because I'm always thinking up stories in my head and I always have to find an outlet for them. I love it. I mean, I think I really realized that I loved writing when, I forgot who it was. I think it was one of my teachers. They asked me, oh no, it was a guest speaker at a Model United Nations conference I went to in Singapore. Mm-hmm. I think the guy was a National Geographic photographer or something. And he came and he was talking to us and he was like, how do you know what you really love? And he asked us, if money was no obligation, what would you do for the rest of your life if money didn't matter? And then I was actually thinking, like, what would I do? And I realized that I would want to be a National Geographic photographer, travel around the world and write. Like, that would be like my dream life for me. I mean, yeah, and I'm actually getting to do part of that life now, and I'm not going to give it up. So that's how I really knew that I loved writing.
Well, Porpier, I'm sure that one day I will hear your name as a famous author in other countries. Absolutely, and thank you for joining my program today. Thank you for sharing
me.
Your experiences. And your second book, The Name Treasury, for those who are interested, it's now available in the bookstores. Right?
Yes, and I think a lot of bookstores. I know there it's at B2S, Nine, C-Ed, definitely Asia Books. Might be at Kinokuniya right now too. So just go check it out. And if they don't have it, you can request for it. So then they'll send it there.
Well, thank you very much. ขอบคุณครับ
ขอบคุณค่ะ
Asean TV, 10 nations, one vision.